Hey everyone, Alan here, and well, what's about to follow is my interview with Michael O'Brien. I'm very excited to bring this one to you. See, if you don't know about Michael O'Brien, he runs the YouTube channel O'Brien's Magic, and it's got a lot of parallels with this channel. Talk about a lot of the same types of topics. He is a very experienced magician and just a wonderful guy. And I wanted to introduce my viewers to him. If you don't know about him already, you should go check him out and subscribe to his channel right after watching this video. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the interview. So welcome to the interview. I have with me Michael O'Brien, who's quickly becoming a new friend of mine. He has the channel O'Brien Magic on YouTube. A fabulous channel if you haven't checked it out. He gives advice for magicians. There's actually a lot of parallels between my channel and his. He's performed at the Magic Castle and the Magic Circle in London. Does the best linking ring routine you've ever seen. And we're lucky enough to have him today. Please welcome Michael O'Brien. Thanks for being here, Michael.
Good,
Hey.
good. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. We got to talk a little bit before we actually started the real interview, and I just there's a nice energy there, so I'm already excited for this.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Very cool. Let's do it.
All right, so I have a list of questions. The first one is I put out on social media. If you're not following me on Instagram and Facebook and all the things, there will be links down below. How many hats do you have? So I'm going to ask you that first. That's an audience question. I want to make sure I get that out of the way, and then I can ask whatever I want to ask. But audience most important. How many hats do you have, Michael?
Okay, I'm assuming we're talking about newsboy hats, right?
I
mean,
she didn't specify. She didn't specify. So.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, let's see. I have this one that I'm wearing. I have a brown herringbone. I have a gray herringbone. I have another one that's exactly like this, but I don't wear it anymore because I've had it for like 10 years and it's like dirty. I have an actual like Irish like flat cap that was my dad's that I got from Ireland, and he like he got one himself and then he gave me that one. So like 8 or 9. No, I have a multi-panel one too. That's like different colors. So like 10 newsboy hats.
That's what you're going.
Yeah, I have like 10 newsboy hats. Maybe even another one that I'm forgetting about. But I own the Indiana Jones fedora, and then I have a handful of like baseball caps, mostly Yankees caps. But yeah, I think that's all the hats that I own.
It's like 30 hats.
Ish, give or take.
Oh my gosh! 30, yeah. How did you get into magic? Everybody has a story about how they got into what they do and what was the initial spark and what went from, hey, yeah, that's a neat thing. I learned a trick here to taking it much more seriously. What was that journey for you like?
It's a really long journey, and I'm going to try to shrink it down for you. I actually got into magic 3 times. I know that sounds weird, but let me explain. So when I was like really little, like maybe 5 or 6 years old, one of my neighbors down the street got the Larry Anderson Jaw Droppers like VHS box set, right? For those of you that are like, what the hell's a VHS? It's like it's like a DVD. Oh, excuse me. It's like a download, right? But instead of being on a disc, it's actually on a tape, and you had to put it in something called a VCR. I know.
I love that you tried to explain it with another outdated technology. See, a CD is like a vinyl.
DVD. Wait, that doesn't work. It's like half your viewers probably don't know what a DVD is. It's like a download.
It's like a wax cylinder, and you got to wind the.
Yeah. So so he got the Jaw Droppers like box set, which was like 5 tapes, I think. And it came with like a Svengali deck and like a pencil through coin and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it essentially, for those of you who don't know, it just teaches you a bunch of really easy to do magic, right? All kinds of stuff with money, paper, like the linking paper clips and like all that stuff, right? So his mom got him that, I think, for like Christmas or his birthday or something, I forget. And we would like learn these tricks together. Either I would go to his house or he'd come over to my house and we'd watch the tapes and we'd learn the tricks together. And then we would do like a little magic show for like our friends and families and stuff like that. That went on for like maybe a year or 2. And then we kind of grew out of it and got into even cooler things like collecting Pokemon cards and playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And like all that stuff, right? So magic kind of fizzled out for me at that point. Then in high school, I my senior year in high school, me and a bunch of my friends, we decided to go to Hollywood just to go. I don't know, to like walk around and like look at the shops and do like the Hollywood Boulevard Walk of Fame touristy thing. And there was actually a magician there who was street performing. He was just performing card tricks, and he had his hat on the floor, and like people were tossing money in his hat and stuff. And I thought it was really cool. I was like, oh, dude, there's a magician. Let's go check that out. So he started performing for us. And after his performance, I was like, oh, man, that was really cool. Like, I used to really be into magic when I was younger, but like I kind of grew out of it. But like, I've never seen, this was like my first face-to-face interaction with a sleight of hand magician. Like, I've always seen like the 21 card trick and like doing the cards behind your back and like flipping the card over behind your back and like all that stuff. Like, I had never seen like an actual sleight of hand performance before. So it blew me away. And we were talking about it a little bit, and he said, you know what, here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do the same set again. I'm going to draw a crowd, but here, you stand behind me, and I'm going to do this performance again, but this time you're going to be behind me, so you're going to kind of see like everything that I'm doing, but you're going to see their reactions too, so it's going to be kind of cool, so you can kind of get a taste of like, you know, what sleight of hand magic is all about. So he actually did a card to pocket routine, and every time he would do something, he would pause, chat with the audience, like get them reacting and stuff, but he would flash to me like what he was doing. So like, for example, when he was going to do the card to the pocket, right, he was like talking to them, and he like put his hand behind my back, and he's like showing me like the card palmed and everything like that.
Cool.
And then he reaches in, and then like he did like the 51 cards to pocket and all that stuff. And I just remember thinking like, how are they not seeing this? Like, it's so obvious. He's just taking the card and he's like putting it in his pocket. And then I was like, 3 minutes ago, I was where they were and I didn't see what he was doing. So like, this is really cool. This really works. And fun little tidbit, little bit of information, trivia or whatever you want to call it for you guys. The card to pocket routine that he showed me is the one that I perform still to this day. I just do it as like a Pokemon routine now. So that's kind of my homage to him. And I say him because I don't know who he was. I don't know his name. Wow. I don't know anything about him other than just I saw him there that day. I remember what he looks like. So if I ever run into him again, I will know, hey, you're that guy. Yeah, so that was the second time that I got into magic. So now I'm starting to practice and actually kind of like get better at it. But then, you know, life happens. I graduated high school. So I'm not like, crap, I need a job. So I stopped doing magic for a little bit so I could find a job. I started kind of doing this like desk job where I was working for this medical company, like doing intakes and stuff and just like putting their information in the computer. And it was so boring. So I was like, yeah, no, I can't deal with this. And like the computer would crash and like my 8-hour day would be gone. And so I'd have to go and do those same ones again, like the next day. And so I was just like, yeah, no, I can't deal with this. I think I worked for that company for like a month before I was over it. Me and my friends, again, we were like, you know what? Let's go to Disneyland. And when I say Disneyland, I am broke as a joke. So I'm not talking about Disneyland. I'm talking about downtown Disney. For those who don't know, downtown Disney is the shopping mall outside of Disneyland that you don't have to pay to go to. The demonstrator there, cool, like sleight of hand card stuff, right? And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then they tried to pitch me on like expert at the card table and like Royal Road to Card Magic, and you know, like all the classic books and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is kind of cool. So let me go ahead and grab one. And then I was like, I noticed you guys have like a hiring sign there. Like, can I fill out an application too? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I fill out an application, I put it in. And I'm just like, whatever. Probably never going to get a call back. Like literally the next day they like called me and they're like, hey, you're looking for a job? And
yes.
Like,
yes, I am.
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact, because I'm
fill out your application.
I need to work. Yeah. Like put me in there 40 hours a week. I don't care. I'm ready. And so they're like, okay, well, can you come in, you know, this weekend and do an interview? So I went in and then they interviewed me and all that stuff. And I pretty much got the job like right there on the spot. So I'm going to call this my first real job because like the other one, I didn't even count it. Yeah. So my first like real job was working at this little kiosk in downtown Disney. It's a kiosk owned by Gino Minari, who's the owner of Houdini's Magic Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that job for about a year or so. That's when I really got to like get into magic. This is where I'm saying, like, for the third time, I really got to get into magic there. And because you're doing magic 8 hours a day, right? You're performing for hundreds of people a day. So like, talk about getting thrown into the fire. I went from, I learned a couple of really cool tricks, and I can like show my family and friends to, you were going to perform for strangers for 8 hours a day.
All day.
And all day. That's all you're going to do. And not only that, but you have to learn how to sell stuff too. So we're going to teach you how to be a salesman too. And then I actually ended up transitioning into the park to work for the Walt Disney Company. Just because, I'll be honest with you, I was going to make more money doing that. And so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up going into Disneyland, and the rest is just maybe another story for another time. The too long didn't read version was, I started when I was a kid, but then I stopped, but then I started again because I saw this really cool performer while I was in high school, but then I kind of stopped because I needed a job, but then that job turned out to be magic, so I got into magic for a third time. That's my whole journey.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah.
I it's funny because I've also worked in a magic shop, and that was one of the things that will take you really, really far. It's trial by fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I was encouraged to just take books off the shelf or take DVDs home and just learn everything I could in those, because it would just help me be a better salesman. So yeah, and have knowledge of products, right? So that's what you want. Somebody asks, "Oh, what is this?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know." You don't want to be that person. You gotta be like, "Oh, this one's good, but that one's better. This one has upsell. Oh, you're gonna need this for it, right? You need to be able to do all of that stuff.
Don't forget to grab this too, because this goes with this, and like all that stuff.
Oh, you're gonna need a refill for this because this is gonna run out. They give you
it's really true. It not only it doesn't. Not only are you learning how to perform the magic tricks, and not only are you getting better at it because you're getting that repetition in, but you are learning how to sell, which it becomes very important when you want to do magic professionally, because if you don't know how to sell yourself, you're just some guy that does magic tricks, and why should I hire you when I can hire this other guy?
Yeah. So I want to ask you about your channel. So we learned a bit about how you became a magician, finally, but also you have a YouTube channel now with 4,000 and several hundred subscribers as of the recording of this video. Will be more by the time you watch it. How did that? What was the impetus to start a YouTube channel in the first place, and then how did you kind of come to the topics that you want to talk about on that channel?
Very good question. So I think the channel started honestly as just a way for me to post some magic performance videos. I don't even have the magic performance videos I originally posted on there anymore. I deleted them because they were so terrible. Thinking about it in hindsight, I probably should have kept them, because I kind of want to do like a 10-year class reunion kind of thing, where like I can look at something 10 years ago and how I did it then versus how I do it now, just to really show that your magic does change and evolve over the years.
Well, and if I can interject really quickly, a lot of that'll resonate with a lot of my viewers, because I did a 20-year series. I did a public access television show like 20 years ago, and I uploaded the VHS and have a digital copy of that. And I went through and I reacted to myself performing 20 years ago, and I did it in 3 parts. And that was something that was a really great instructional tool, because I go, well, look, I can sit here and tell you this now, but like I'm just not lording over everything, sitting in my armchair, like a Magic Cafe. I actually lived this, and I did it, and I sucked, and I still suck, but I suck less than I did, and in 10 more years I'll suck less than I do right now. And that was kind of the idea, and I wanted to kind of take everybody through that. So doing that kind of thing, I think, is really cool. And if you have anything like that on your channel, or can do anything like that on your channel, you should, because I think it's a really valuable teaching tool.
So it all started as a way for me to just post my magic performance videos. And then I started doing like magic tutorials. I started coming up with these effects myself. And I thought, you know, it'd be really cool to post, some magic tutorials there. So I started doing that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm teaching people how to do magic tricks and I'm showing them some performances. It'd probably be a good idea to kind of explain why I'm doing some of these things, how I'm doing some of these things, you know, like what my thought process is behind them. And then I just started kind of putting out these advice for magicians videos. And by this time, I had already been doing magic for professionally for a little while, at least like 3 or 4 years. So I was pretty much just explaining things that I thought would make sense, right? Like this is what I found out while I was doing it. The channel had kind of evolved into that. It wasn't intended to be that. I didn't say, you know what, I'm going to make a Magic for Magicians YouTube channel. It just kind of turned into that. I don't remember the timeline. I'm going to guess maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years. I don't know how long that channel's been up or how long I've been adding videos to it. I'm going to say I've probably been like actually adding like videos with the intent to have a YouTube channel. It's probably been like maybe 4 years or so. Yeah, and as far as how many subscribers I've had, I had like 300 or 400 for like a really long time. It wasn't until like maybe 2 years ago that I actually started getting a lot of followers. I don't know what went viral or what changed in the algorithm or I don't know what, but I think that's kind of started happening.
You just you did it so long that you got really good at it, and now you're being rewarded for your efforts finally.
I'm always making changes. Like if you look at my channel, you'll see the progression. It's like, all right, homie is filming in his car. Now homie is filming against like some weird random thing in the background. Now homie is filming on a green screen because I didn't have anywhere to film. Like so I set up a green screen.
There's a good lesson in that though. There's a good lesson.
I learned how to do green screening so that I could do it, right? Now my setup is here. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. I am literally in a bedroom with a white sheet
behind the scenes,
behind my couch. So that is like my little setup right now. One of my most popular advice videos is how to practice magic. And you're probably wondering, like, what do you mean how to practice magic? Like,
no, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Right? With most things so there is.
My practice routine, I guess you can call it, is actually 3 parts. So like the first part is you have to study the individual techniques that you need to learn to be able to perform the trick. So like, let's just say you're going to do an ambitious card routine, right? You need to learn a control to get the card to the top of the deck. Probably want to learn like a double lift, and let's just say even if it's just those 2 things, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to practice the control that you want to learn. Let's say it's the pass. You practice the pass over and over and over and over and over again until you can get the pass looking really clean. And then the double lift, you practice the double lift over and over and over and over and over until you get your double lift looking really clean, right? So now that's phase 1. Now you've just learned the techniques to be able to perform the effect. Phase 2
that's not the effect, though.
That's not the effect. Now, phase 2 is routining the effect. That's putting the moves in order, right? Having the card selected, putting it into the deck, having it controlled to the top, doing the double lift to show that it's not on top yet, turning the card, snapping your fingers, and now revealing that it is on top, right? Plus the patter that you're going to say, what words you're going to use, the story that goes with the trick, all of these things. So this is all just part 2 still.
Yep.
So now you've taken these individual moves and you've routined them and you are able to perform it from start to finish all the way through without screwing it up. You can do it over and over and over again. You're comfortable with the things that you're saying. The pattern lines up to your moves and everything like that. You're not just looking at your hands the whole time. You can actually look at yourself in the mirror or maybe even perform in front of a camera, doing the tricks and watching yourself back, and you can do the tricks and stuff. That's all just part 2.
That's part 2.
Now, part 3, and this is the thing that like 95% of magicians don't.
The most important part.
You need to go perform it for people.
Do it for people.
You need to run it in over and over and over in front of actual people.
And it will change. Yes, you're
going to get caught. You're going to realize that maybe this is a bad angle for this. You're going to realize, you know what? I'm putting in a lot of this work and they're not really reacting to it. Maybe I need to change something.
Mm-hmm.
You think, oh man, this joke is going to be so funny, it's going to kill, and you do the joke and people are like,
What was that?
Right?
Yeah.
And you actually learn things from performing in front of live audiences. Listen to your audience. They sometimes come up with some silly stuff, and it ends up being brilliant.
And you don't learn that stuff unless you perform with people. And I like that you get in something I'm trying to put out there for those who practice for themselves but aren't performing for other people is you're an entertainer, right? You're a magician, but you're an entertainer first, a magician second, or at least that's the way that I like to put that. It's like if you could have the most perfect technical skills of anybody who's ever lived. You could back palm an entire deck, right? Okay, sure. But if you're not fun to watch, or you're not personable, you don't create a connection with people, then they won't care. It doesn't matter how good you are technically if you can't present that in a way that people want to watch. I'd like to give you a chance to plug some of the stuff that you're excited about and have on offer for people.
Yeah, so if you guys go on my online store, I have a bunch of downloads and stuff. I have books. I published a few books. I have DVDs. For those of you who don't know what DVDs are, they're like downloads, except they're physical on a disc.
Yeah.
They're downloads that you can hold in your hand. I have a couple of new things that I just put out. A couple of the newest things are this little chop cup routine using a whiskey flask and a collapsible shot cup. So you borrow someone's bill and you can do some cool stuff with it. You can gimmick the cup if you want. It doesn't come gimmicked, but if you wanted to, you can add magnets and stuff and make it all chop cuppy. That's a recent thing I just put out. I put out a book test called the Manga Book Test, which is essentially a collection of ideas using any ordinary manga off the shelf. And that's a new thing that I just put out. And then the thing that I think that I've become most known for in the magic community, which sadly isn't even one of my products, is Matthew Garrett's Ninja Plus, which is a linking ring routine that allows you to melt like a finger ring, like your wedding band, onto a ring and then hand it out and the audience can examine it. He has a really new product out now called Garrett's Impossible Rings, GIR for short, which is a linking ring routine that allows you to link rings and then hand them out. And there's no gaps or anything in the rings.
That's cool.
So going back to what we were talking about, creating a problem that needs to be solved. A lot of magicians are worried that a spectator is going to ask to examine the rings.
Nah.
If you happen to be one of those magicians that's absolutely worried about that, GIR is a good solution for it. But yeah, so those are just some of the products that I have on my website. I encourage you guys to go check it out. If you see something you like, feel free to grab it. I have some stuff on my YouTube channel also that I put out free tutorials, so you guys can kind of check that out and get a sense of my teaching style and all that stuff. And if you just want to follow me on social media, just pop in and say hello. You guys are welcome to do that too.
Michael, thank you so much for talking with me today. I think we learned a whole lot of really cool stuff, and I'm really excited to go check out. There's some things that you mentioned. I know about some of the products you put out, but I got to go check out some of these other ones now too. So thank you for your time today. And man, I hope we can do this again. Can I ask you back and we do this again sometime soon?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. And I know that we don't have a whole lot of time, but for all of your viewers out there who are watching this, stick around because I'm going to have you come on my channel and maybe do a little lecture, or if you want to just kind of talk how we were right now. This is really fun. I enjoyed this.
Me too. And I'm sure we'll have a really fun future together figuring out all the things that we can do. This is a very nascent platform and thing that we're trying, but I think that there's a lot of really cool opportunities for the future, and I'm excited to explore them with you. So
thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and thank you again for having me.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. So that was my interview with Michael O'Brien. He's an awesome guy. You should definitely go check out his YouTube channel. Give him a sub, give him a like for me. Tell him that I sent you in the comments on one of his videos. And you should go check out his website, o'brienmagic.com. There will be links for everything that we talked about in the description of this video. So if you want to take a look at anything that we talked about during the interview, you'll be able to find it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.